Hello everyone, from FFHS back again with another video, and today I have a video review on the Kirin Type A by Shellington blasters. Let's sniper cam up there. Oh, it killed the dart.
Oh yeah, so just try not to notice the weird white spot in the bottom left hand corner. You probably didn't even notice it until I pointed it out, but yeah, something's going on with my camera and I don't know what it is. But yeah, just try and ignore that because I cannot fix it. Yeah, anyway, on with the video.
Oh yeah, and it does this, which is super cool. Alright, so let's go over what is inside the box, because it is a lot. So in the box, obviously you get the Kirin. It is separated into a few bits. It's the lower receiver, upper receiver, and then the barrel shroud. The barrel shroud simply just bolts together with these 3 screws here, and then you prime the blaster by sticking the plunger rod in. I'll explain that a little bit later in the video. And then you put the lower into the upper. It is very simple. 2 mags, one's black transparent and one's transparent. What? No, it's not transparent, it's translucent. It's like a smoked, sort of like, yeah, cool. Suppressor thing with green tape on it, because that was done by me, but yeah, suppressor thing. 3 spring options in the box are 1.6, 1.8 and 2.0, with a 2.2 version available sold separately. Not included in the box, but an accessory that I'll explain later. 500mm barrel, threaded. 20 shells with darts already loaded in them. That is it with the stock Kirin. However, you can get some optional accessories, like a Talon Mag Kit. Alright, we'll go from tip to end because that's logical. Up here, no in-strike barrel lug. Cooper's recently just left YouTube, so I had to honour him somehow. This is a little bit different. It has a worker scar muzzle on there that is not included in the box. I put that on there for some extra accuracy. Some green tape and some Nerf faux barrel to hold that in, just to cover up the weird silver looking barrel. Does not match the blaster at all. But the barrel is 360mm long, and it comes included in the barrel shroud. And it is a threaded barrel, just like here, and it has a lot of threads on here. This aftermarket barrel was nice and easy to thread in. This one was like really lumpy and gross. This is not a Harrier barrel. I'm not using this as a pointer. This barrel is totally proprietary. You can't use it with anything else. But because it has so many threads, it's a really good air seal, and the barrel mates with an O-ring, so it's really high quality. It's nice, I like it. Up here we have a giant long Picatinny rail, which I have mounted various stuff to. This is not included in the box, this is just my custom setup. I've been testing this blaster for a couple of days, so I wanted to put all my cool tactile stuff on there. Down the side we have M-lock slots, which is really cool. They're on both sides. And then on the bottom we have a little segment of Picatinny rail. Doesn't go all the way to the end, which I find a little bit strange, but you can mount a bipod or whatever down there. How the suppressor fits is you're meant to put it on the front, and there's a little hole there which you see, and you just take off the 2 screws to expand that hole to stick it over another hole on the blaster, and then you screw it back together. It doesn't twist on or anything. It's actually quite weird how it works, but it does work. It obviously doesn't suppress the blaster, but it does add more orange to the front, which is a good thing. And then back here we have the bolt. That's how you prime the blaster. That is a prime back, and then push forward, you lower it. The prime smoothness is quite nice. The stroke is quite long because it's got a big plunger tube in there. But the strength is all dependent on what spring you have in. I found the 1.6 was nice. The 2.0 was getting to the Chungus level, and this aftermarket 2.2 spring that I have in here right now is ultimate Chungus. It is very, very hard. If you're a young person or just not very strong, you're not going to be able to prime this, especially from sniper setting like this. You're like benched up. I can only just do that. It is a big spring. And putting in the spring, which I'll mention later in the video, was even worse. Anyway, here is the ejection port. This is where these shells obviously get expelled. The ejection port is on both sides because this is a right and left-handed blaster. When you're putting the blaster together, if you're a left-handed person, you can choose to swap the bolt over to this side as well, and then you have to swap this orange ejector piece to the other side right there. So that way the shells will eject, not into your face. And here we have some takedown pins. These are just little pins with a little detent in the end so they don't fall out. And there's 2 here and then one shorter one up here. You take these 3 down and you can get into the blaster. If you don't want to change your spring, I recommend just priming the blaster first and keeping everything primed in the lower receiver, and just get that out of there and then work on the top receiver. But if you do need to change your spring or do anything in the lower receiver, you'll need to not keep it primed and have, you know, everything deprimed. Because basically how it works is when you prime the blaster, the plunger, the entire plunger, spring and catch is all contained within this grey piece here, the lower receiver, and the top receiver, it does nothing. You can take that apart and lube it up or whatever and keep this primed. And I recommend doing that with the 2.2 spring because it is a nightmare to get into the blaster. How do I mean by that? Well, the plunger has this little notch on the top of it, and the notch has to be facing upwards. So you can't just stick the spring in and shut the blaster, you have to prime the blaster, effectively pushing the two halves together and compressing the spring and making it catch, which is a nightmare because it's not contained, so the spring is wobbling, so you have to control that with the weighty spring of the 2.2. Oh, it was a nightmare to get in. The springs that it came with was no big deal, that was nice and easy to get in, but the 2.2 spring is on another level of Chungus. But if you do want to get that 300 FPS number, then you will need the 2.2 spring and this longer barrel. Anyway, moving back to the grip. The grip is nice. I've done my custom shoelace grip job to this. Before I did that though, the grip was totally adequate, it was fine. But the thumb hole was a little bit annoying, but that's just the nature of thumb hole stocks. It does fit the sniper roll though. This is the magazine release and the mag well. You can put the mag in without having to prime back, and the mag gravity drops out of the mag well. This mag release never dropped on me. I never accidentally dropped my mag when I was testing. And back to the stock, it doesn't adjust, you can't take it off or anything, there's nothing to move here. But it is a fairly good length. I feel it will be a pretty good length for everyone because it's not super long, but it's not super short either. And it looks pretty cool, and there is a rubber butt plate here which I felt it was quite nice during my testing. Very comfortable stock. And here's the trigger. The trigger is definitely not the nicest that I've felt, but it's good. Okay, that was a full overview of this blaster. Now let's go and see it absolutely destroy everything.
Bro, it left marks on my bin.
Yeah, so pretty crazy firing demo. I've been hands-on testing this thing for a couple of days now, and it has only done me good. I love this thing a lot. And I still haven't figured out which barrel is right for this, because I feel like for the 2.2 spring, this barrel's too short, and the 500mm barrel is too long. I really don't know. But the accuracy and consistency with this worker scar is epic. Without the scar, it is a noticeable difference at range. You do get a little bit of squirrely darts, so I highly recommend picking up one of these scar barrels. This is just a worker injection molded one, but I believe a string-based one will work better. And that segues onto the accessories, because there is a B-car accessory that you can buy just for the Kirin. It's this little guy. There's meant to, oh yeah, the little attachment mech is on the blaster already. But there's this little 3D printed B-car that comes with tiny little bearings and pins which got lost in my box, and I don't have all of them, which I'm a little bit bummed about. But this is a tiny little B-car that fits on the end of like normal barrels. And the Talon Kit from Monkee Mods. I believe this is the Monkee Mods version, but I got it from Phantom Tech. I got everything here from Phantom Tech. This is the angled Talon Mag conversion kit. It comes with a new dart gate, new pusher, new bolt, and new bolt handle, Talon Mag well, and then a plunger head. So yeah, pretty nice build quality. The overall feel and fit and finish of the blaster is quite nice. It's not quite as nice as the Harrier. You do get some shell gaps here and there. I mean, that is the nature of having pins instead of screws. Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of wobble. That's just the trade-off, is being able to easily swap these for build quality, I guess. Yeah. But overall, it feels really, really rock solid. Very, very comfortable, ergonomic, runs well. couple of issues that I had, or not really issues, but just annoyances. These mags would sometimes drop a shell when I'd reload. So if I was firing and I still had one shell in the chamber, or in the magazine, sorry, and I tried to reload, that shell would just dump itself from the mag and onto the floor, and I'd lose one shell. Another annoyance is that this silver barrel included with the blaster doesn't fit normal scars properly. It does fit them, but you do have to squeeze them on. This barrel here, which looks like a Harrier barrel actually, fits them just fine, but this one's a little bit wider on the outside, so not all of your scars might fit on there. And not really an annoyance, but just like, why wouldn't you do this? The Picatinny rail is built into the blaster, which I don't like. There's a reason why most Picatinny rails come off from the blaster. Like the Harrier here has a separate rail from the blaster that you bolt in. This is so that it doesn't have a seam down the middle. When it's built into the shell, like in the Kirin, it has a giant seam down the middle, which might not fit a lot of optics nicely. And it also means that you can't swap the rail length, the colour, the material. With this, the Harrier, you can take off the rail and swap it out for anything that you like, or just leave it off. Numbers. Let's talk about numbers. So I don't have a crony myself, but basing off of everyone else's numbers, everyone else meaning Deejay. Deejay, or Scattered Logic, a good friend of mine, has his own hybrid kit for this. He is basically like the Kirin god. He knows everything about the Kirin. He's tested the springs and stuff. I only know the 2.0 spring and the 2.2. 2.2 is getting near 300 with the Talon Kit. Shell-Ejecting should be around 270 feet per second, which is still like monstrous. And with the 2.0 spring and stock barrel, which is included with the blaster, you get about 230 to 240 with shells. But it's cool! It's a sniper rifle! It's a real sniper rifle. It looks like one, it's bolt action like one, it shell ejects, which is awesome, and it has the performance of a sniper rifle, which brings me into my personal opinion. Overall, I love this thing. It is cheaper than the Harrier and the Swift, and it comes with more accessories. And it's a sniper rifle! This will give you sniper status, maybe not with a red dot sight on here, but if you get a nice sniper scope, get a cool bipod, get the longer barrel and the 2.2 spring to shoot 300 FPS. Oh, it is a monster. It is still not pump action though, so it's still not as competitive as something like a Harrier with some upgraded parts, but it is super cool. There is nothing cooler than benching up, priming the blaster, and having a shell fly out, but still having really good performance. So yeah, if you're after a competitive yet like fun for plinking and bolt action and super cool, then yeah, this is a great option. However, it still uses shells. And these mags are only a 7-round capacity. Not a lot for a nerf battle, to be honest. But that's where the Talon Kit comes in. Especially from Deejay, or Scattered Logic, or Reaper Crew. You can get his hybrid kit on Thingiverse, print it out, and use normal Talon mags that you already have. A lot of competitive nerfers already have these Talon mags. They're the standard Talon mag now. And feed it through the Kirin. Of course, you won't get shell ejection, but you'll actually get a competitive blaster that is still super cool to use. So yeah, that's basically all the information that I have on the Kirin. I highly recommend at least looking into this if you're after a performance sniper rifle. Of course, if you're looking at a totally competitive blaster, and all your mindset is competitive, you want to fling foam with no mercy, then I don't think you should look into this. Even with the Talon Kit firing normal Talon mags, it's still bolt action, and because it's bolt action, it's slower and it's harder to prime. So just buy a Harrier and upgrade it with some saber parts. But if you're looking at a fun / battle effective blaster, you will still wreck people with this because it's 300 FPS. So yeah, that is my review on the Kirin. Alright, I'll leave purchase links to the Australian site where I bought this blaster from, and to some international links as well for people that are not living in Australia. Sweet! I'll see you in the next video, people. Stay tactical. Coop 772. Gone too soon. 13 years. I hope he does well in life. I hope he at least kept one Nerf blaster to play and plink with.